Taylor, ethanol subsidies. Are you for them or against them?
Earlier this evening, Sue Brunn was talking about, she made a wonderful comment about the ethanol subsidies got people talking about alternative fuel sources, that we didn't have this conversation in previous years. We were pretty much just, fossil-based fuels, and even though I know there's a lot of it there, I tend to think in the big, long, drawn-out, evolutionary thing, and we're going to eventually run out. It is a finite resource. Maybe not in my lifetime, maybe not in our children's lifetime, but at some point. So I think that as we're getting into looking at other alternatives, I think it's imperative upon us to look at, okay, what have we started with that conversation, with that subsidy? Is it now time to maybe pull that and look into other sources of fuel-based or energy-based systems that can replace that? The thing that concerns me about an ethanol is that where the fossil fuels are a finite system because we can't grow anymore, I worry about putting all of our eggs in a basket of something that is dependent upon the environment for its stability. If we have droughts, if we have any kind of an infestation, that can go away. So I like to think of ethanol right now as sort of that backup generator that you keep. And I love the idea that it got us thinking about alternative fuel sources. And I would like to see subsidies going into other venues that we will be talking about in future years. And we'll look back and go, wow, remember ethanol? He was just like that 8-track cassette player. Dang.
Thank you, Taylor. Mark, ethanol subsidies.
Absolutely wrong way for government to behave in a free society. Ethanol subsidies. What the government seems to do is we take things at short glimpses and rush to enact legislation because it feels good. Government is like that young boy who loves to take a big rock and throw it in the middle of a still pond. And the reason we do that is because we love to see the splash. Everyone can see the splash, but of course a young man doesn't have the attention span to sit and watch what the ripples do. That's exactly the same with government. Right? We saw a big splash when we said, let's do ethanol subsidies because that'll decrease our dependency on fossil fuels. Okay, fine. But we didn't realize that that would create food shortages. We didn't stop to think of whether or not that taking the corn out of the marketplace would hurt other farmers, and it has. Your beef and dairy farmers are hurting because of the price of corn has skyrocketed so much. When government starts manipulating the free market, this is the result we get. If ethanol was such a good thing, government didn't need to tell us. We're smart people. We don't need government to tell us what is good or what isn't. People would have figured it out. If ethanol was the right thing to do, it would have happened in the context of the free market and can move forward without a government subsidy. If wind is the right thing to do, and it is in many instances, it will happen in the free market, and it is in many instances, and will happen without a subsidy, and it is in many instances. We don't need government being our benevolent parent telling us what's good or what's bad for us.
Thank you, Mark. Mark, what can or should be done to reduce healthcare costs?
What can be done and should be done, number one, is we should open up choices to the families. We should open up the insurance industry. We should say, Minnesotans, you can buy insurance from Wisconsin if it's cheaper there, from Iowa if it's cheaper there. We don't need to create this Minnesota monopoly of insurance plans, which we know monopolies drive costs up. Let's get rid of that, number one. Number two, let's get rid of mandates. Let's let people choose from a cafeteria listing of what they want to be covered for, so that I don't have to be covered for mammograms. Mammograms are good, don't get me wrong. I just don't know if I need to be covered for them. All right? And number three, we should open up transparency to what our health insurance bills are actually paying for. How many people here know how much it costs to set a broken arm? Yeah, I thought so. Neither do I. Right? And in fact, from one doctor to another, do we even know if the prices are similar or if they vary tremendously wildly? We don't know. Right? Now, I love my doctor, but if he's charging $500 to set a broken arm, and a doctor 1 town away is charging $150 to set an arm, I think I'm going down the way, because there's only one way to set a broken arm. So I think we need to open transparency, we need to open choices, we need to give a cafeteria style of what people are covered for. You do that and prices will go down dramatically.
Thank you, Mark. Taylor, healthcare costs.
Well, just to address the issue, I actually attended a seminar that was hosted over in Egan that talked about the healthcare mess and how we got here. It was pretty informational for me. One of the things they talked about in that was adverse selection. Does anybody here know what adverse selection is? Basically, adverse selection is where all the people who do need the insurance are going to be the ones taking it, and those who think that they don't, won't. So you only have the needy who are using the system, in the system, and paying for the system. So I think it kind of speaks pretty quickly of how that's not going to work. You need everybody in the pool to maybe bring it back out into a non-healthcare thing. Think of the hurricanes. You know, I mean, we don't get a whole lot of them up here, a few tornadoes, but we have got the devastation of Katrina facing our state, the devastation you see down there. However, if we only left those states to pay for that kind of damage, they never come back, because it takes all of us paying into those pools. What I would like to see back to the universal health care is just taking away from having to choose, taking away from having to make those selections, taking away from having to worry about the price of a broken arm. You have a broken arm. You live here, we'll cover it. What he said about picking your coverages on Amtrak was a pretty good point there. I was just hoping that never becomes that $1.5 billion in case breast cancer is gone. But I think, again, you know, you'd be looking at, well, what do you think you're going to get? And then pick that. So I think that's a bad way to look at insurance. I think it just needs to be blanket coverage for everyone. Some of the fears have been, you know, people have that opportunity to get free health care, they're going to abuse it. Maybe on the colds and sniffles they will, but the colds and sniffles are not what are bankrupting this company or this country. And you know, I don't see a lot of people signing up to have open heart surgery more than once. So I think that's kind of the key thing, is that we need to get away from where we've managed health care and get into universal health care for everyone.
Thank you, Taylor.